Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. Today, we are thrilled to be talking to two of the stars of the upcoming Hallmark film, Heaven Down Here, Tina Lifford and Krystal Joy Brown. We're going to kick things off by introducing you to the AAFCA members who are on the call today, starting with Karan Lenoir Kelly in Charlottesville, Virginia, Chris Westbrooks in Cleveland, Ohio, Dana Abercrombie in New York, New York, Niger Chambers in Washington, D.C., Jill Monroe in Los Angeles, and the great Reggie Pounder in New York. I'm going to let you guys do what you do so well, and I'll see you on the other side.
The city has closed all of the main roads until the storm passes. I'm getting home to my babies.
In this storm, that's a bad idea.
When the lights go off,
We might as well enjoy our Christmas Eve. Doesn't mean we can't make it special.
secrets are revealed, and four strangers
Let's make this place Christmas.
bring on a Christmas miracle.
This has been one of the greatest Christmas Eves I've had in ages.
Heaven Down Here. Only on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
Great to talk to you both today. I'm Jill Monroe from SVP with Jill Monroe at KBLA Talk 1580. So this film is about the power of connection and making that wherever you're at. So what did you learn about that power through these characters and what they kind of started off going through and how they came together through this process? And Tina, I'll start with you.
Yeah, what is wonderful about this film is that it gives us, particularly during the Christmas season, the opportunity to remember and believe that connection is real and that there is something out here that knows that we're here and is orchestrating, if you will, the connections that are necessary for us to fulfill our hearts. I believe that with every fiber of my being, and it was exciting to be in this film that was rendering that feeling in such tangible and relatable ways.
Yeah, I mean, beautifully put. And I'll just add that, these people are walking in with a lot of their own trauma, their loneliness, always around the holidays, that is like exacerbated for all of us. And finding community in unlikely places is a very interesting theme, I think, of this movie. Finding it within people who you may see every single day, but you don't connect with because you don't invest time into getting to know them, but you don't know what they're going through. And once you know what they're going through, then you can grow your compassion and empathy, and they can potentially spread that to you, which I think is a beautiful theme of this movie, and just that we can take away in our everyday lives. It definitely, there's a lot of kind of magical moments of just connectivity and how we're all connected. And sometimes we don't know how or why, but we are. And I love that there are these little twists and turns. And I don't want spoilers or whatever of how deeply we're connected, but keeping that faith, keeping that community, keeping that open channel, and also being willing to share your vulnerabilities is I think one of the main things that I truly loved about the movie.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Reggie Ponder, the real critic out of Chicago. And I actually had a different question, but Tina, in hearing you talk prior to this, you had mentioned, brought up the concept of important work. And so I actually want to explore that a little bit with what you guys do. I think that doing these kind of movies is important work. And I'd love for both of you guys to speak to your perspective on that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Particularly in today's political environment, the need to experience qualities, I call them thriving qualities like empathy and possibility, hope, courage, openness, curiosity, connectivity. These are science-based words that speak to the frontal cortex. And the more we understand the importance of feeding our brain and our nervous systems with the kinds of thoughts and considerations and time with self that allows us to actually benefit like medicine from that energetic, the better off we'll all be. We are so right this moment sort of pushed into the survival state. And the survival state is not just neurologically, but historically, anthropologically, it is the oldest part of ourselves. So it is the crustiest part of ourselves. It is the most tenacious part of ourselves. And if we aren't consciously injecting into that tendency, that more practiced tendency, thriving characteristics, we will be driven and controlled by, worry, doubt, and fear, othering, hatred, isolation, depression, so on and so forth. And so this work is high work in my estimation.
Yeah, I believe, I always love to show Black people, people of color, with vulnerability and with all of the layers that we truly have. And so that there can be an extension of compassion, because I think a lot of times, especially with Black women, we're the strongest, fiercest. We don't need anyone to check up on us. We're just getting through. And I always, in all of the work that I do, whether or not I'm playing like a diva or a woman who works at a diner, I always want to show the level of complexity that we have and the humanity that we too share. And so it's always nice to have that ability and those opportunities, and to further, like, yes, it is to further our consciousness, all of this stuff. These images that we are ingesting of us, Tina and I, being up there on those screens and like representing in this way, but then also talking about our loneliness and our fears and our traumas and all of that, which is what we as a culture and community need to be talking about more often, and feel the permission to do so. And also then to like feel the permission to ingest the goodness, to really be able to embrace when something good is happening, to be able to embrace when someone is putting a hand on your shoulder, and trust that is like what you deserve, and that is what we give and can give to each other and for each other. So it is those the opportunity to be the visual representation of that, to be a part of a conduit of those things is wonderful. I also just think, like, my birthday is December 22nd. I love what? Reggie, it's your birthday too? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Like that's why you're all Christmas themed out. Like that, I get it. I'm holidayed. I just find this time of year. It is the end of the year. It's reflective. It's like you just go into this place. You want to give. You want to receive. You want to like be in flow with people. And you have your holiday parties and you have all that stuff going on. But that's like we're obviously in search and in deep need for that like community and connection. And so I feel like these movies like infuse a little bit of joy. And I think this movie is very different for the network, because it is grittier. It's filmed grittier. It is like it isn't your classic romance of a holiday film. It's really about people and struggle and connection and trauma and that fight or flight and being in that survival mode, and what happens when we are in survival mode and can't necessarily get out, and how can we transmute that pain into joy, something that we do very well as a culture, but like really leaning into that in a broader sense and in how we exist in the world.
Wow, thank you both for those answers. I mean, wow. And talk about connection. Hey, 22nd, yay. Thank you.
Hello.
I know we have it hard. We have it hard, Reggie. It's a love-hate relationship with that birthday. So I feel you.
You get to double dip for the holidays.
Yeah, I better get 2 presents and not 1. That's all I'm saying.
I'm Karan Lenoir Kelly with Karanism.com and Love Music Pleasure. And I really enjoyed this film, but the holidays are bittersweet for so many people. And the film deals with grief in all kinds of forms, not just in death, but also in estrangement and loss and longing, and creating that human and spiritual connection. I think the holidays are also really difficult for people who are overgivers and who are what we call selfless, but sometimes lack boundaries. So my question to you both is, I believe you cannot give with a closed hand. What will this film teach about people who don't know how to receive?
Were you in my therapy session today? Because I feel like that was a read. I'm just gonna jump in really quick, Tina. I get Imani, and I get all of these people. I mean, and I get the inability to receive. Like that is that is so part of our of being a woman growing up, in our society. And also just like not trusting that if you are receiving something, that it doesn't have conditional boundaries, that it doesn't have something attached to the other side of it. And I think the work is being able to, like I said kind of before, was like allowing something to be good, allowing something to be true, and allowing us to like lean into that and not to feel like the rug is always going to be pulled out from under us. I think that's really hard to cultivate, especially when we are in grief. And as a person who grew up very similar, like to my mother was a single mom. I lost my father when I was very young, and she was raising 2 kids and had to make the holidays work and had to make us believe that things are magical and that things are happy. And I watched that firsthand and watched that level of sacrifice and level of putting it on, and it's really generous and lovely, but like you said, you have to put your mask on first before you can save anyone, if the plane is crashing. So I really do hope that this is a moment where people can sit back and think in their own lives, where is a moment in which like I'm not really receiving, or I am thinking that this is going to turn around and bite me, or the rug is going to be pulled from under me, and actually be able to believe in the goodness. And even if something does like shift and it does seem like not exactly what it appears to be, that there's probably still a lot of good in there, even learning.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Krystal. One of the things that I love about this film is, and I don't think this is a spoiler alert, but so much happens because characters wind up being with one another, just being in the same space. And it's not like, they agreed to be there, but being where you are with another person makes room for something else to happen. And so I think that as our viewers watch this film, there are a lot of lessons, and a lot of them come down to being. Even when you're resisting, if you allow yourself just a little bit of openness, just the desire to have a little bit more, to just have somewhere in your body or mind the desire for more. That magical connection thing that we talk about will put someone or a movie or a phone call in our space, and it can make a difference. And, we as people, and not just Black people, but we as people, I believe are on the journey of learning to allow ourselves to need, as Krystal was saying, And that's a good thing. We've been taught that needing, is, makes us weak, but needing makes us human. And I think that that is depicted throughout this movie. Every single character has a need. And it's not until they meet up with the circumstances that force them to be with another person that need that is unspoken actually has an opportunity to be touched and fulfilled.
Thank you so much. And Miss Tina, I just have to say, over the years, thank you so much for your positivity and what you put out into the world, the light that you've been shining for years and years and years. I'm really grateful for you both. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Krystal out of Cleveland, Ohio, WOVU 95.9 FM. This question is for both of you guys. Is there a particular scene or moment in the movie that holds a special significance for you? And did you discover anything about yourself throughout the process of making this film?
I'm gonna, Krystal, do you want to take that first, or you want me to?
Go ahead. You
She's
go
my
first.
number one. Not only is she number one on the cast, this is such an incredible, beautiful light that and a thinker. So I'm gonna defer to you, Krystal.
Oh my gosh, there were a lot of things. I mean, I feel like the first week we were filming was like such a whirlwind. And then the second week I could like get my bearings. And what I really loved or learned kind of about myself in that moment and during the film was like, you make your experiences, like I wanted to show up. The second week of filming for me, I was like, I want to show up differently. I want to show up more and be more present, because at first you're just so inundated. And so it's all like, oh gosh, what are we doing? What are we doing? Who are these people? What's happening? And then I got to the second week, I got to like really like sit in it. And I felt like I got to really enjoy the process and enjoy everyone around me and start to feel like, like less stressed about it. And I think I learned, like, if I can start that second week sooner in my brain, that would be great. But I think a moment that really like touched me, and I don't want to give any spoilers, but I think the end of, well, when the blizzard happens and it is a new day, I think that moment is really transformative. Like, that was beautiful to do with everyone. And it was also just beautiful to experience and to think of, because, we're all searching for family and connectivity. And when you don't feel like you have it and you feel so lonely, it can be a miracle when you find it, whether or not it's in a diner or with these diners or biologically. And so I just find that it was just, tender and sitting with these two powerhouses, Phyllis Rashad and Tina, like I was just like, I feel so lifted and elevated, and to watch how they interacted with each other, and then to watch Felicia, like just how she works and how accessible she was emotionally, was beautiful. So it was a gift of gifts of like me learning more about myself, and then also like getting to work with women I've watched and admired, and I'm here because they are. If I didn't have you guys, I would not be here. If you weren't blazing trails and creating, opportunities, like I wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have the ability to dream to the level that I get to.
That's beautiful, Krystal. Thank you so much. And, I'm not sure if you all had the opportunity to see the film before this interview, but she's wonderful, right? She's absolutely wonderful. I love the question because it does center me in a very specific part of my life right this moment. My character in the film is driven for whatever the reason, and we come to understand that the reason is bigger than all of the players, all of the pieces on the earth board are much smaller than this movement that is happening through them and above them. And I definitely am driven. I'm driven where this, inner fitness and wellness is concerned, and I can't help myself. And so as I was able to step into my character, I understood how, she could appear pushy, that she could appear, to be so self-focused that she's not paying, but she just wants to do something good. That's what she wants. And she's got no roadmap for that. And all she has is her heart and this thing that is pushing her. And so, and that through that pushing, the discovery of things that just are beyond human consciousness. They just happen. The connections that just happen because you follow that thing inside that is asking you to be its arms and legs and mouth and heart. I loved my character.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. It was a great film. I enjoyed myself watching it.
Hello, Dana Abercrombie, the Coalition. My question is really for Krystal. I'm fascinated by the character of Imani and everything that she goes through. It's kind of terrible. She's dealing with terrible customers, a boss who's completely uncaring, and through the whole movie, she's really just trying to get home to her kids. And so what I wanted to know is, what is it that her children instill in her that allows her to continue to keep going forward, especially dealing with what she goes through within that movie with just the customers alone?
Oh, I mean, I think what children all over the world give us is hope for a better future. I think her children are a piece of her past, her husband, they created these beautiful beings, and she wants to honor them and support them. But I also think that she's living vicariously through them in a way. Like, she wants to be the mother that she may not have exactly had. Imani is adopted herself. So she had been orphaned and she's adopted, and she never really had a place of belonging. We even talk about how she would be taken to the hair salon because there was no one in her community to take care of her in that way. And so I think Imani having this ability or desire to make sure that they feel as though they belong and that they have everything that they need is extreme. But I also think that they give her a reason to keep going and to put up with these customers or to put up with tough circumstances. She's like, what matters to me is that the smiles on their faces, the fact that we can bake cookies together, the fact that we can create joy regardless, because the end all be all is not the job, it's not work, it is about being with them and connecting with them and growing them and nurturing them and making them feel as though they are whole and that they have so much love and that they are so special and that they can do anything. I want them to feel we want them to feel as though they are possible, and they give her that fire, because otherwise, I think, when you go through so much grief and loss, it's so easy to lose a sense of purpose, direction, joy, but you can't look at those sweet faces and not just feel that and be like, I just want to take care of you. I'm living for you. I'm creating a place where you can, I want to create a place where you have the soil, a rich soil to grow and know that you are wanted and that you are loved and cared for. So I think that they are they are the igniting factor for Imani. And also to live out the fact that she never probably felt fully accepted and fully like she had people who looked like her to really understand her, and having them have that is like essential to her.
Hi, my name is Nigeria Chambers from
Good to
Big
see you
Oak
again.
Media. Good to see you too. I just changed my question like 30 seconds ago because I thought about something you just said. And not to give anything away, but we learned about Amani's origin with her name, which is a very beautiful and touching element to the story. Krystal, I'm coming to you with this question. I'm wondering if there's a special origin to your middle name, Joy. You've mentioned that a few times today now, so I wonder if there's sort of a correlation here that may be tied to the story as well.
Okay, there's so many things. Whenever I do a project, I'm always shocked at how much things like cross over and the synchronicity. So one thing is that there is a one thing, Imani means faith. Okay, and I have a ginormous faith tattoo on my right ribs. And so that was like one thing that I thought was just a crazy kind of coincidence. And then there's also an image that happens in the movie that means something that I don't want to give it away, but I have almost the same exact image tattooed on my ankle. And we realized that like after I like almost the same exact it's shocking. And also my name, obviously I was born around the holiday time, but my whole family couldn't decide what to name me. So I ended up being named Krystal Noel Joy Ginger Brown. And it's the most holiday name you could ever imagine. And I do think that like having Joy as my middle name, it is kind of like a calling card, you know, to be like, okay, you have to kind of exude that or find that. And I do find myself saying that word a lot, or finding me a lot, because I'm a person who I'm an overthinker, I'm an overfeeler, I'm all those things. And I can sometimes easily let the joy eke from a situation because I'm constantly trying to map out and plan and figure this out and figure that out and be ahead of the thing. And to come back and be like, sit in the joy, sit in that moment. Like I was kind of talking about like the second week of filming, I got to kind of sit in that joy. I kind of got to actually create those bonds and relationships and like start kneading into it. And I think that it was a divine thing to be given to me to remember to have joy. And then also to hopefully be someone that can be a spreader of joy. And I think that that's there. I don't think that anything is coincidental, which is kind of what this movie is about. There's no coincidences. Like everything is kind of happening in divine timing and in a divine way. And so I do think that there is something to that. And I do think having a name, Krystal Noel Joy Ginger Brown, does lean itself to doing holiday movies.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate you, and also good to see you again.
Thanks. Good to see you. And nobody knows that's my whole name. I mean, people like close
It's
to
a
me know that's my
beautiful
whole
name,
name.
Krystal.
It
It's
is
beautiful.
a lot of names. Yeah, and everybody calls me something different. So yeah.
I'm
Hi,
gonna call you Ginger.
Ginger Joy Brown was my name until I was like 11. Like I thought that was my full name, but
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, my name is Nancy Green with Film Critique. And one of the things that I noticed in the movie that I really liked was you mentioned before about synchronicity. And the fact, and I should say that this is kind of a spoiler, of course. I like the fact that, there's this connection between Imani and Nancy in terms of they both kind of given up in terms of having hope in their life. And then Tina, your character kind of brings it back to them. And I wanted to know if there are moments in your life where things like that sort of synchronicity has kind of come in and given you back your hope and your joy in life. And if you can kind of talk about that in relation to the movie and how that influenced your view on it.
Yeah. I actually, in the same way that Krystal was talking about using her middle name as a call to action for herself, to be a spreader of joy, to let that idea be present in her life. The full of hope part, Clara, in the scenario that you just painted, Clara is the one who holds the hope. She is just relentless in her hope and hoping. And that winds up, delivering amazing results. And when I tell you that I feel that hope is medicine, I mean that literally. And when I think about the world, when you think about all of the major human rights movements, they have been achieved on the back of hope, because the odds were always against us. The odds of the civil rights movement here in this country, of the civil rights movement in India, just everywhere you look, the odds are against us. And yet hope does this miraculous thing. And so it's wonderful that you painted, Imani and Felicia's character as people who are ready to give up on hope, and Clara, my character, as one who is relentlessly hopeful. And, the movie tells you where you can go and how infectious hope is.
Yeah, I mean, true all that. Like, yeah, without hope, like hope burns eternal. Like hope is everything. And I think all of us at some point have felt hopeless, like, or this is a hopeless situation, or we feel small, or cannot make impact or change in our own lives or in society. But we are stronger than that. And the hope is what continues to make us like show up, I think like synchronicity. I mean, there's so many things. Like I'm doing a Broadway show right now called Merrily We Roll Along, and I auditioned for that show, and I didn't know the show. I didn't know the legacy of it. I didn't know anything. But when I read the script, and it was like, I've been in 5 Broadway shows. I'm inches away from the top. Success isn't happening fast enough. Like, these are the things that this actress is saying, the character is saying. And I was like, oh my God, I've literally been in 5 Broadway shows. I literally feel like I'm inches from the top. I literally feel like success isn't happening fast enough. Like all of these things that I felt so like connected to, that I was like, whoa. When I read this script, when I was just like, reading it, and I was just thinking about a mother who, has lost her husband, like my mother, who's raising 2 kids. That's very like syncretic. I don't know, synchronistic. That is very like, there's just so much there already that I'm just like, whoa. And then like I am I mean, my Instagram should just probably become like a Beyonce Hive stan account. But I was just feeling that I was feeling pretty hopeless December 1st, even though things are going technically outwardly great, but I was feeling just terrible. I was doing my show, my Broadway show. I have this great, beautiful movie coming out, but I was just feeling bad. I'd even said to my therapist, I was like, I think that like, I just need to find something else to do with my life. And then I was pulled to go watch the Renaissance film. And it was the reminder that I needed. It was like, it was everything that I needed to like boost me up and to like remind me that I love performing, that I'm here for a reason, that it's going to be hard, no matter if you're Beyonce or if you're Krystal Joy Brown, like it is going to be a challenge, but like we're here to do the work and we love the work and nothing can take that away from us, no matter how hard the work is or the business is or society tells us this, that, and the other, or whatever it is that like we're purposeful and we deserve to be here and we deserve to take up space. So that was like a big thing. And then the next day, a director who I love, who directed Motown, Charles Randolph Wright, just called me out of the blue and was like, I saw your show on Thursday and I loved it. And he just gassed me up and made me feel like so seen and like being seen by my community, being seen by people who like, who I think are just innovators and have had to push through every odd to get to where they are, who are just like embracing me is everything to me. It is like everything to me. So in a moment where just 10 days ago, I was like, you know what? I don't know, maybe I should go to law school. Like I got reignited by that, by always by Beyonce, but then just also by like needing that phone call and not like, I haven't talked to him on the phone probably in years, but just that like one little phone call maybe changed the trajectory of my life, maybe changed the trajectory of like where I'm even standing from this or sitting from this position right now, just being able to like engage in a positive, excited way. And really did that like shift that I didn't know was coming or didn't even know was there, but something did know that I needed that like karmic cosmic hug, and that that reaching out from people in my community and from another Black artist, and it just made me feel very seen and feel like, okay, this is not like whatever you're feeling right now is so temporary. It's not your reality. It's just a moment in time that feels really hard and feels really complex, but actually there's like something way grander. So do not give up hope. And I think it's those moments that like help us propel. And I think that like all of those bits in the movie that are like little Easter eggs to how everyone is kind of tied to each other, is just kind of a reflection of what we're all kind of going through. And I think the way it was cast, like we all understood our characters to a molecular level, and it was easy to just like go into that. Like it wasn't like, oh, okay, we've got to like figure this out. Like we all had these things that were already there that we just could like kind of tap into and proceed. And as long as we could be vulnerable and open, I think when you're creating art of any type, like that's where you're going to have the most success. That's where you're going to have the most, I don't know, honesty and the ability to connect.
Nice. Thank you so much. I love those answers. And yes, I think this is a very uplifting film. I really enjoyed it. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Ladies, thank you so much for your time today. This film is wonderful, and I know that it's going to be a lasting part of the world's Christmas movie watching. And so thank you. Terrific job. On behalf of the world's largest group of Black film and TV critics, have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you next year. Thank you for watching this edition of AAFCA Roundtables.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Thank you so much.
Krystal, great to see you.
Always great to see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.